Hi everyone, thanks for joining us in this video. This is Daniel Maldonado and I am a solutions architect specialist in data analytics. In this session, I will talk you about OpenSearch index transforms, which allow users to generate new indexes and different summarized views of your data, centered around certain fields, so you can visualize or analyze the data in different ways. So, instead of running an aggregation every time, results can be pre-computed and displayed. In this video, I will provide some background of this feature, how it works, we'll do a demonstration, and we'll provide some additional resources to get started. Let's start defining what is an index transform. You can use index transforms to extract meaningful information from an existing index and store the aggregated information in a new index. The key benefit of index transforms is faster retrieval of data by performing aggregations, grouping in advance, and storing those results in summarized views. For example, you can run continuous aggregations on e-commerce order data to summarize and learn the spending behaviors of your customers. With index transforms, you have the flexibility to select specific fields from the source index. You can also run index transform jobs on indexes that don't have a timestamp field. Index transforms might look similar to index rollups because in both cases, the output is a new index with only the specific fields that we chose. Then, let's review the difference between both. Let's start with index rollup, where as you can see in the screen, we have two different indexes where you should pick the fields that you are interested in and use index rollup to create a new index with only those fields aggregated during the index rollup creation. You can store months or years of historical data at a fraction of the cost with the same query performance. This feature lets you reduce data granularity by rolling up all data into condensed indexes. On the other hand, index transforms let you create a different summarized view of your data, centered around certain fields, so you can visualize or analyze the data in different ways. For example, let's suppose that you have airline data that is scattered across multiple fields and categories, and you want to view a summary of the data that is organized by airline, quarter, and price. You can use a transform job to create a new summarized index that is organized by those specific categories. There are two ways to configure index transform jobs. The first one is using the OpenSearch dashboard's user interface, and the second one using the index transform REST APIs. In this video, we will create a transform job using the OpenSearch dashboard, and we'll show you how to analyze the new index using the API commands. Now let's do a demonstration to provide the basic steps to get started with index transforms. To do that, we should open the OpenSearch dashboard console. But before creating the index transform job, let's take a look into the content of our source index, which is the index that we will use to get a summarized view through the index transform. To do that, we should go to the DevTools interface, which is in the upper right side over here. And here you can see that we have our source index. Our source index is called OpenSearch Dashboards Sample Data E-commerce. If we perform a search task in this index, you will see that we have more than 4,000 documents or values in this index. Okay, and we have our target index, which is called Transform Data E-commerce. The target index is where we will store the output of our index transform. I mean, we are gonna create a summarized view of our source index and we'll store the output here. If we perform a search operation in the target index, you can see that we don't have any document or any value in there, meaning that this the target index is empty, right? Now we can start creating our index transform. To do that, we should go in the upper left side in the hamburger icon. If we scroll down, you can see that we have different sections, and under management, we can see the index management section. In this section, you can see the information regarding to the indexes, data streams, templates, rollups, and transform jobs. Okay, let's click in there, and here we can create a transform job. Let's do it. Okay, in the first step, you should specify a index transform name, and a description is optional. you should specify the source index. In this case, our source index is this one, the OpenSearch dashboard sample data e-commerce. We should specify the target index. In this case, it is the transform data e-commerce. Okay. And we have the edit data filter option. In here, you can use the custom DSL to filter a subset of the source index to use in the transform job, which optimizes the job for performance and computing resources. In this case, I don't need it. Let's click next. Okay. In the second step, we should define the fields to be transformed. In this example, we are using a data set from an e-commerce source index with over, as you can see here, over 50 different fields. And we only want to select the fields that are relevant to tracking the sales data, but by product category. In this case, I'm gonna hide all the categories, and I only need 3 categories. The category that keyword, I need the product price category, and the total quantity category. I'm gonna work only with these 3 categories. Okay, now I'm going to add only some specific fields of these categories to my index transform. If you click in the plus sign next to the category name, you can see options to add some specific fields. In this case, I'm gonna add, or I'm gonna group by terms the category column. For product price, I'm gonna aggregate the maximums, I'm gonna aggregate minimums, and I'm gonna aggregate the average. And for total quantity, I'm gonna add the sum. Okay, well, as you can see here, Index Transform Wizard provides preview capability of transform fields on sample data for quick review. Additionally, you can also edit the field's name in favor of more descriptive names. You can modify this. In this case, I'm not gonna change any name. Click in next, and in the third step, we should specify if the job will be triggered manually or will run continuously depending on the user needs. And you can modify the frequency, adjusting the transform execution interval parameter. As you can see, the frequency can be in the order of minutes, hours, or days. Okay. If the job enable by default is set and continuous is disabled, as in this case, the job will run only once and then will be disabled. And in the advanced tab, we can modify the pages per run. This setting indicates the data that can be processed in each search request. And raising this number can increase the memory utilization and lead to higher latency. Then we recommend to keep the default values. Click on next. Okay, in the last step, we should review all the parameters and click on create in the green bottom to schedule the index transform job. Well, index transform jobs are enabled by default and run based on the selected schedule. Then we can click on the refresh button to monitor the status of the index transform job. In this case, it can take some seconds. Now it is completed. After the job runs successfully, we can click in the index transform job and we can view the details around the number of the documents processed, what is the source index, what is the target index, and the time taken to index and search the data. Okay, well, now let's view again our target index content using the search API. To do that, I'm gonna go back to home and into the DevTools interface. If you remember, previously our target index was empty. Now, if I perform a search operation, you can see that now this target index has a value of 6 documents, right? But is not compared with the amount of information from our source index, right? Which contains more than 4,000. And this is because of the categories and the fields that we specify during the index transform creation. Okay. Well, finally, the last step is to delete the index transform, and to do that, I'm gonna go again into the management section, index management, transform jobs, and you have to select your index transform job, and under actions you will see the delete option. But before deleting an index transform job, you have to disable it. In this case, let's click in disable, and now we can delete it. Okay, perfect, it's done. Okay, well, that is all I wanted to show you as part of this demo. To summarize, index transform is a very useful functionality to aggregate specific fields from an existing index and store the summarized data into a new index using the OpenSearch dashboard's user interface or index transform REST APIs. For more resources on index transforms, please refer to the documentation shared in the description of the video. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.